Let me ask you something. What if the retirement strategy that millions of Americans are counting on, the one that financial media loves to talk about, was actually built on assumptions that no longer hold true? Because here's what I see in my practice every single week. People come in feeling confident. They've done their homework. They've heard about the 4% rule. They've got a number. They've got a plan. And then we start stress testing that plan against real world retirement risks, and the confidence starts to fade. Today, I want to walk you through a straightforward, honest comparison between the 4% rule and fixed indexed annuities. By the end of this video, you'll understand how each one works, where each one has real weaknesses, and which approach gives you the most reliable income in retirement. Let's get into it. First, let's give the 4% rule a fair introduction, because it didn't become popular for no reason. Back in 1994, a financial planner named William Bengen published research that analyzed the historical market data going back decades. His finding was if a retiree withdrew 4% of their portfolio in the first year of retirement and then adjusted that amount for inflation every year after that, their money had historically lasted for at least 30 years. A few years later, researchers at Trinity University expanded on that study, and the 4% rule became the gold standard of retirement income planning. And I get it. It's simple. It gives you a concrete number. If you have $1 million saved, you withdraw $40,000 in year one. It feels clean. It feels manageable. And it was based on real data. But here's where you need to pay close attention. That research was built on a specific set of market and interest rate conditions that existed in a particular period of American financial history. The world your parents retired into is not the world you're retiring into. And a rule designed for one world doesn't automatically work in another. So before we go any further, let me show you exactly where the cracks are. There are three major vulnerabilities in the 4% rule that I want every person watching this to understand. The first one is called sequence of returns risk, and this one is critical. The 4% rule assumes that over time your portfolio will average a certain rate of return, but averages can be deceiving in retirement. Here's why. If your portfolio drops 25 or 30% in the first few years of retirement and you're still pulling money out to live on, you're selling shares at the worst possible price. Those losses get locked in permanently. Your portfolio never fully recovers, even when the market eventually bounces back. The math breaks down, not because the market failed long term, but because the timing was wrong. That's sequence of returns risk, and it can derail an otherwise solid plan. The second vulnerability is the interest rate problem. The original research assumed a portfolio split roughly 50-50 between stocks and bonds. Bonds were expected to provide stability and a reasonable yield. But for years now, bond yields have been suppressed well below Bengen's model assumed. Some researchers have updated the math and concluded that the actual safe withdrawal rate in today's environment may be closer to 2.7% or even lower. On $1 million portfolio, that's not $40,000 a year, that's $27,000. That's a significant difference when you're trying to cover your real cost of living. The third vulnerability is longevity. The 4% rule was designed with a 30-year retirement in mind. But what if you retire at 62 and live to 95? That's 33 years. What if your spouse outlives you by several years on top of that? The longer your retirement, the higher the probability that the 4% rule runs dry before you do. And that is a risk that no retiree should be willing to accept. Here's the bottom line on the 4% rule. It's a guide based on historical probabilities. It's not a guarantee. And in retirement, a guideline is not the same thing as a promise. Now let's talk about fixed indexed annuities, or FIAs. And I want to keep this as plain and straightforward as possible because a lot of confusion gets stirred up around annuities unnecessarily. A fixed index annuity is a contract between you and a highly regulated insurance company. You deposit a sum, typically from savings, a 401k rollover, or other retirement assets, and in exchange, the insurance company makes you several key promises. Promise number one: your principal is protected. The stock market can drop 30, 40, or 50%, and your account value does not go down because of market losses. That protection is built into the contract. Promise number two: you have the opportunity to earn interest linked to a market index, like the S&P 500. When the index goes up, you capture some of that growth, subject to certain caps or participation rates. When the index goes down, you earn zero for that period. Zero is not a loss. Zero means your money stays intact. Promise number three, and this is the one that changes everything for retirees. If you add a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit rider, which is often called a GLWB, the insurance company contractually guarantees that you will receive an income payment for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter how long you live. It doesn't matter what the market does. The income continues. That word contractually is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, because contractually guaranteed is a fundamentally different promise than statistically probable. One is backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of an insurance company. The other is backed by hope that the historical math holds up for your specific retirement. Alright, let's put these two approaches side by side across four key dimensions. First, principal protection. With a fixed indexed annuity, your principal is contractually protected from market losses. With the 4% rule, your entire portfolio is exposed to market risk on day one of retirement. A major market downturn at the wrong time can permanently reduce the income your portfolio can support. Advantage: fixed indexed annuity. Second, income predictability. With an FIA and a lifetime income rider, you know the minimum income you will receive each year. You can build your retirement budget around it. With the 4% rule, your income is tied to portfolio performance. A bad stretch of returns may force you to reduce withdrawals or take on more risk than you're comfortable with just to maintain your lifestyle. Advantage: fixed indexed annuity. Third, longevity protection. A guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit on a fixed index annuity pays for as long as you live. The 4% rule has a historically modeled success rate, but is not 100%. And the longer your retirement, the more that rate can erode. Advantage: fixed index annuity. Fourth, upside potential. And this is important. A fully invested portfolio in the market has a potential to grow significantly in a strong bull market. A fixed index annuity has caps and participation rates that limit how much of the market's upside you can capture. That's a real trade-off, and you deserve to know it. But here's the question worth asking. Most people within 5 to 10 years of retirement are not primarily trying to maximize upside. They're trying to make sure the income never stops. And for that goal, the FIA is purpose-built. Here's something that might surprise you coming from someone in my profession. The best retirement income plans I help people build almost never use just one strategy. They use both. Here's how it works in practice. We use a fixed index annuity with a lifetime income rider to create what's called an income floor. That income floor covers your essential, non-negotiable expenses: housing, food, utilities, healthcare, insurance premiums. It comes in every month like clockwork, regardless of what the market is doing. You never have to worry about it. Then your investment portfolio, the assets that still carry market exposure, gets repositioned for discretionary spending, inflation protection, legacy goals, and long-term growth. And here is the key insight: because you're not depending on that portfolio for survival income. You don't have to sell at the worst possible time when markets drop. You can let it recover. Sequence of returns risk is essentially neutralized. That combination, a guaranteed income floor plus a growth oriented portfolio, is how you build a retirement that is both secure and flexible. It's not annuity versus the 4% rule. It's using each tool for what it was actually designed to do. If you're within 10 years of retirement, or you're already there, I want to encourage you to do one thing. Stop relying on rules of thumb and start working with actual numbers built around your specific life. Your income sources, your expenses, your timeline, your risk tolerance. Because that's the only plan that's actually yours. If this video helped you, please get the free booklet called For Those Who Want to Prosper and Thrive in Retirement. Check out the link in the description box to get that information. And if this video gave you something to think about, please hit the like button and subscribe to Retirement Security Simplified. I put out content every week designed to help you protect what you've worked so hard to build. This is Retirement Security Simplified, where we specialize in turning confusion into confidence, one conversation at a time.